how's it going? Here is today's trade recap for Thursday, May 28th on MNQ. As you can see, we caught these longs this morning. It came out to be a little bit more than a 9-to-1 risk to reward. We entered on the Newswick low from the Red Folder News at 8:30 this morning and exited when ES took previous day's high. So let's talk about why we got in the trade, what precipitated it, and what we were thinking. So if we go to the daily chart, you can see that NQ had gone into a daily fair value gap. And when we did that, obviously we pushed up, we displaced. If you look at the hourly chart from that area, you can see we did get a change in the state of delivery at 8 a.m. this morning, at least on the hourly. This is what 8 a.m. candle came up. We got this change in state of delivery that make this an hourly order block. So at the 8:30 news this morning, we had an hourly order block right here. And then we got, if we go to the 15-minute chart, we had this was the wick, the news candle low. There wasn't even a wick on it, really. Like, if you can zoom in, there's no wick. So the fact that it was the Newswick low, or the news candle low, and there was no wick on the bottom of that 15-minute candle made me think, okay, we're going to retrace back to that level on either ES or NQ. Now, I had assumed we would do it on ES, but ES did have a small wick, NQ did not. NQ had been the stronger asset all morning, so that's why my assumption was going to be ES. But NQ took that low, and I think a lot of people got tricked. So because they weren't thinking about the higher time frame narrative, they were just looking at, 15-minute inverse fair value gap. When we go up into this, I'm going to short this, and then they got smacked. Before the market opened, I told everybody in my Discord, hey, we're looking for price to retrace down into this Newswick low before we take longs. I think a very underrated area of liquidity is Newswick highs and lows. You guys need to understand that is a very significant liquidity pool. It is every bit as significant as a session high or low. You could almost look at the news, the 15-minute news candle or news range as its own session. So here we took the Newswick low. What I was waiting for was to see, one, that we were going to form an SMT at that level, which we did. ES did not take the Newswick low. NQ did. As soon as MNQ closed back in the range on the 1 minute, I entered. So I entered on this candle. We got in at when it closed. So we got in at 9:44.25. My stop was down below this 15-minute order block right here. So that was at what was that right here? 9:15. So that was our stop. And once we got a change in the state of delivery here, I moved my stop to this low. We held it to when ES took the previous day's high and exited there. So our exit was right about here. It was definitely a good entry. Some people would say it's a little bit riskier. I didn't feel that way. I was very confident in it. I took my normal size on the trade. The reason for that was because we did get an SMT. So we had SMT here with ES and NQ, closed back in the range. We came down a little bit just to kind of, I guess, stop out some traders, and then boom, shot up. And then we got the news candle this morning, and that propelled us on up to the promised land where we exited for a little over 9-to-1 risk reward. But remember, when you see these red folder news events, always mark the high and low of that news range and treat that basically as its own session liquidity. And that will give you really good confluences for taking trades. I hope you have a great day. I hope you learned something. I will catch you next time. Thank you.